ReesaTessa, a lady who has taken internet by storm after making her 50-part series on TikTok, Who the F I Marry.
And welcome. We all know why you're here. You're here for part of the new series that I'm calling Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
Hello viewers, I'm Dr. Angie, a psychiatrist. The reason I'm making this video is because I want us to learn from her mistakes. I also want to share scam alerts, some safe dating tips that you should be implementing if you are currently dating, the embarrassing times when I also got scammed, and how I protected myself. I'll also share my psychiatric expertise on why sometimes smart people make very poor decisions. What happens to our mind during those times? So without further ado, let's get started.
And we go in, there's a long wait, and so we sit outside and we just talk.
This is their first
And the
date.
conversation's great. And this is where he tells me what it is he's looking for. He tells me, I believe at the time he was 42. He was like, I want to get married.
Let's just hold on. If a guy is mentioning that he wants marriage on the first date, take it as a scam alert. It's not even red flag, because men don't go to first date with marriage in mind, even if they are very faith-based. It's us women who have commitment, marriage, relationship on our mind when we go to dates. Whenever a man has done that, even in my experience, they always turn out to be scams. So ladies, please be very careful about it.
Bruh, you always said you would never live with a guy unless he was your husband. And now you living with a dude and he ain't your husband. Like, it was a struggle for me because I knew better. And don't come for me. I'm just telling you the way I grew up. It was like that. It was not sitting right with me. But at the same time, I didn't want to quarantine by myself. I did not want to. So there we go. So he moved in. We talked about the bills. Let me clear something up that I said in the other video where I said he paid all the bills. He paid all the household bills. He did not pay my car payment, my cell phone, or my car insurance. He paid the rent, because my rent at the time was less than $1,000. He paid the utility bills. And so when he's telling me that he's a regional manager, I was like, wow, okay, so you got money. And so he paid all the household bills. So my check really was just taking care of me, myself, and I. And I am not, this is where it's not going to make me look good, but it's the truth. It was intoxicating to not have to worry financially.
So there are a couple of things going on here. It was quarantine, okay? So COVID was a very stressful time for everyone, I remember. So she was in a vulnerable state because we just didn't know what's going to happen. We are in a state of fear. So that is one reason people do make sometimes poor decisions. This is not the only reason for her, because she got so many signs, but she's kept rationalizing her decision. And there's nothing against her. We all have been in positions when we look back and we realize, what kind of stupid decision did we make? All smart people have done it. Like, I have few instances when I have made really poor decisions as well. I'm pretty sure you guys have also. I'm not saying anything against her, but she gets so many signs, but she kept rejecting it. So right now, right here, her unconscious mind is trying to warn her to not do it, like you are not ready, or like this is against your moral values or her faith-based values. But she rationalized everything. Oh, he's paying the bills and I don't have to spend quarantine alone. So she rejected it. That's why I always tell everyone, my advice is, whenever you are making a decision, don't use too much logic, which will, you guys must be like surprised to hear that, but a lot of time we made actually poor decisions when we use too much logic. Our mind is not always on our side. Our mind is like an overbearing, overprotective parent. If you have an overbearing, overprotective parent, you won't be able to do much because they will keep you very sheltered. So that's why exploring your intuitions and your feelings is very important. Also, I remember when I was in medical school, there was like an advice about taking exams. So we usually get multiple choice questions. The advice was, I don't know if you guys have heard about that exam tip or not. Use the guess that come in your mind first. Whatever thing come in your mind first, just answer that question if you don't know the question too well. Of course, if you know it, then you'll answer it well. But if you are just confused, whatever answer came to your mind first, you should pick that answer, because people who have like used too much logic and have double guessed themselves, usually they end up crossing out the right answer that they pick first and pick the wrong answer. So for her, it's the same thing. Like she has that intuition, her intuition telling her, warning her, but she kept suppressing it, kept using logic. And you can watch all her other videos too, in which she'll explain in detail why she did it. When I watched her video, I was like, what? Like she still stayed with him. So let's watch more.
Not have argued away. I can pinpoint exactly the moment I should have left. I still feel like God is sitting on the throne and he's like, I never planned for your monkey ass to marry him. I never even planned for you to go out and date with him. That's why I blew your tire. But you hard-headed and you went anyway. And then I tried to go ahead and show you signs. You ignored them. Like, I feel like God did everything to help me as his child be like, this is not who I created to be your...
I just want to interject a little bit. Whenever you make a really poor decision and looking back, you are just dwelling on it. Why did I do it? And why I was so naive and why I didn't see all these signs? Don't do that. Try not to. Of course, it's very hard not to do it, but try not to do that. Instead, just learn from the mistake. Don't feel guilt about what you've done, because that will make things worse. Everything happens for a reason, and it is my personal opinion. Of course, it's not like science or research, but it's my personal opinion that everything that happened to us was meant to happen to us. Only thing we can do is to learn from the experience and move on, instead of dwelling on it and feeling guilt about it.
And I was like, God, you taking too long. I want to get married. You taking too long. I want to have a family. You taking too long. And these are the consequences that I'm paying for basically telling God, you took too long. And I feel like God's grace is sufficient. It is. But at the same time, and I'm not perfect. I mean, not perfect at all. None of us are. But I do feel like when I sit back and I replay the events that happened, I truly cannot believe that was my story. Because all I wanted was to meet a guy, for him to be my best friend, for us to get married, have a family. I wanted someone I could make fun of his big old forehead, and he make fun of my nappy head and all my wigs, and yet he was my ride or die.
So what happened, us humans are very unique in sense that our mind works very uniquely. We create stories and narratives, and we pick people to play roles in our story. And when we pick people, we want them to act a certain way in the role we have created for them. And when they don't fit the role, we get really disappointed, disheartened. Of course, she was dealing with a con artist, so she was heartbroken for a reason, but that's why she was not looking at any of those warning signs, those red flags, those con artist alerts. She was just overlooking them. They were right there in front of her eyes because she wanted her story to work so badly. So please be aware of what we do and just try to take things as they are, so you don't get into this trap. I really love what Stoicism teaches us. Just take things as they are. Don't get too attached to it. Also, don't get too heartbroken, because if you're not too attached, you're not going to get very heartbroken. It doesn't mean that that you don't enjoy things. When great things happen in your life, you can enjoy them, but don't get attached in the sense that you don't get addicted to it. When you get addicted to it, when you start having cravings for something or someone, then you start having problems. For her, you can also see her story. She had that story in her mind, and a lot of us do, and she wanted it to work so badly, so she picked him for the character, and she wanted him to fit that role, even though he was nowhere close to a person who would fit that role, but she wanted to make it work. And you can see that since it didn't work after marriage, it was not the way she thought it's going to be, everything fall apart. And then she started like questioning, and she started doing more research and find out a lot more things. She could have done that before. Why she didn't do it? Because she wanted her story to work.
To different therapists and psychologists. He's been diagnosed as a kid with both bipolar and schizophrenia. I did not know this.
So I'm going to share a comment. So the comment is, I found it super upsetting. Though she calls out his disorders, we are trying to heal stigma. And then she also said, I thought it was not okay as she speaks on his supposed mental illness. Okay, thank you. I want her voice to be heard, but as someone who struggles with depression, this one hurts. So me being a psychiatrist, I'm sensitive to this topic too. I see mental illness being misrepresented so much, and social media, on movies, on shows, like that makes the stigma worse. I'll tell you one thing, being a psychiatrist, I've never met Legion, I've never evaluated him, so I don't know if he is suffering those mental disorders or not, but from her story, from what she has described Legion to be in her story, it does not seem like he has either bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. If you really want to learn about schizophrenia, please read that book, A Beautiful Mind, and there was a movie also. So what you see on videos, movie, social media, a lot of it is not true. In her videos, how she has described her ex-husband, he seemed like a con artist, a criminal, a manipulator, someone who uses other people's weaknesses, someone who takes advantage of other people's weaknesses, and of course like a chronic pathological liar. He even said like his ex-wife's daughter passed away. She was fine. So that was like horrible. In bipolar disorder, we don't see any of that. Schizophrenia is a completely different story, because a person is psychotic, they are not even able to function properly if they are not getting right treatment, and doesn't seem like he was doing any kind of treatment. If he was not on any treatment and he was acting like this, I don't see bipolar or schizophrenia unless it's completely her side and she did not open up about other things. So that's why I just can't say if he does or if he doesn't, but from her story, her ex-husband doesn't seem to have bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. In bipolar disorder, we see mood swings, we see depression, we see manic episodes when a person feel that they are on top of the world. We see them getting irritable, they can get impulsive, they can make poor decisions, but none of these things that she described in her husband from her story, none of that is present in a person with mental disorder. From her story, it seems like he may have a personality disorder, and it's very possible that he was getting psychiatric help. Maybe he was having conduct issues like behavior issues in school that can develop usually into an antisocial personality disorder, or what we loosely call psychopath, or maybe a narcissistic personality disorder. I just don't know because I haven't evaluated him. I'm just guessing based on her story. So one last thing I want to share and comment, and then I'm going to share the times when I got scammed and what you should do for your protection if you're dating. Okay, ladies, and definitely gentlemen can take my advice too. Whenever you are getting close to a person while dating, make sure you do a background check on them, a detailed background check. I was saved by getting scammed on at least 3 different occasions. So 2 of the times it was back to back. We were dating for like, it was a couple of months, and there was just like how she has intuitions. I just have a gut feeling and an intuition that something is not right. So there are multiple instances, and I always always felt that something is fishy, something is not right. And I did background check and turned out both those guys were married and still living with their wives. And there was a previous occasion when I did a background check on a guy and we were getting close, we were dating, and turned out he had a pretty significant criminal charges, which include domestic violence towards his girlfriend. So it definitely shook me and really helped me get out of that situation as well. So please, whenever you are getting serious with a guy, and especially like she let him live with her, so in that instance, definitely do a background check. Always better to be safe than sorry. And these couple of $100 that you are going to invest in background check will save you years of sorrow. So that was my advice for all of you, and I hope you learn from this, as I have learned a lot from her story, and I appreciate her courage to open up about her story, because it takes a lot of guts to be open and so vulnerable about your story in front of the entire public. I hope you like my video. Please let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.